Hail and meshes, welcome to the world of Baldur's Gate 3. It's me, the Spot King, and in today's video I will show you. And let's skip this boring intro because we got a lot of stuff to do today. Straight to the business, guide for Moon Druid. Today I will show you skill combinations and every wild shape, how to use this wild shape, every wild shape skill, so basically everything you need to know about Moon Druid in Baldur's Gate 3. But as always, let's start with leveling. What's up, wizards? When you're creating Moon Druid, it doesn't matter what race you pick, mostly every race will fit this class. And we're starting as basic Druid because we can't pick our class instantly, and let's get to our abilities. So main spellcasting abilities that will affect a lot of your spells, but also some skills in animal forms is wisdom, so we definitely want to have high wisdom. And now it's tough choice, how far you want to go on animal forms. If you want to be all in animals forms and never walk as normal human, normal druid, then you can completely dump strength, dexterity and constitution, because every time you're going into your animal form, you will be left only with intelligence, wisdom and charisma stats, so you can focus on them. We will talk about these forms a lot in this guide, so I'm bringing this page from Wiki with a lot of information about wild shape form. It costs action and wild shape charge. It will give you access to get every form you like. If you're playing as Moon Druid, you will get access to all forms. You keep in your physical abilities from your animal wild shape forms, so you're basically not keeping them from your normal form, but you keep in your intelligence, wisdom and charisma. I already told it. When you're reaching 0 hit points, you will be reverted back to your original form, so you can treat wild shape forms as extra HP on top of your normal HP. And also, if you got concentration spell before entering wild shape, you will keep this concentration, but you can't cast spells in wild shape form. So you can concentrate on some passive spells, but not on active spells like Call Lightning. You can concentrate on it, but you can't cast the spell. Also, items won't have any effect on you, with some exceptions I will show you later. Beast form scales with your druid levels, and damage scales with levels too. So this means when you making druid, you need to focus only on druid levels. While you can do some multi-class builds, actually really powerful Moon Druid will be with only pure druid levels. So let's get back to abilities. I would suggest going with really balanced characters, so we will have some constitution just in case we are in normal form, so we won't be one-shotted. Some dexterity for initiative is also nice too, and for armor class. Let's not forget some charisma, some intelligence and some strength, just in case we are not in animal form, so we can jump, carry some weight on us, and basically we can finish with something like charisma just for saving throws and other stuff. Or +2 into strength also. Pretty reasonable version. So, let's go. Druid gets a lot of spells. Amount of spells that you can use in a fight will be determined by your wisdom. I treat it as bookmarks. So you got a book with all the spells, but to cast them in a battle you need bookmarks on the right pages. And I will explain all spells just after we finish leveling up. Level 2, that's where we get into Circle of the Moon Druid and getting access to a lot of new forms. Badger, spider, wolf and cat. And also bear. That's a really unique form for Moon Druid. Other druids can't become bears. Also as Moon Druid you will have this bonus action and spell slot to heal yourself while you're in animal form. Third level will unlock level 2 spells. A lot of them actually. Level 4, new cantrip. And also will unlock feats. So, what is good feats for Moon Druid? Any equipment feats won't really work. Any weapon feats, again, not working too much, because you will be in animal form most of the time anyway. So, just in case you want to act first in a battle, I would say alert feat is worth noting. But my favorite ones is basic ability improvement into wisdom. Still, I'm not suggesting starting with this feat if you're using a lot of animal forms that using strength modifier. So another feat that's really good for Moon Druids is Tyrant Brawler. This will add your strength modifier to attack rolls. Still, if you're leveling, I would go with ability improvement Wisdom at level 4. Level 5 gives additional Wild Strike, so now we can do 2 attacks in Wild Shape form and access to a lot of level 3 spells. Level 6, very important. While in Beast form, your attacks count as magical, and you will overcome resistance and immunity to non-magical damage. Very powerful stuff. And in addition, on level 6 you get in Panther form and All-Bearer form, super powerful. Then we go into level 7 and unlocking level 4 spells. Nice summon spells, again, I will talk about spells later. Let's go to level 8. Now we finally get in our feat, one more feat, at the same time with Saber-Toothed Tiger form. Right now we got a lot of cool forms to really do insane amount of damage, so I would go with Tauren Brawler at level 8, and then we're going to level 9, unlocking level 5 spells. Level 10, additional cantrip, we don't care at this point of the game. Level 11 unlocks level 6 spells. And finally we get into level 12 with additional feat and can max out our wisdom. That's it. So build path is really simple and straightforward. And now, before we jump into this black hole of animal forms and what they can do and how to use them, let's talk about spells. So, as for cantrips, I would go with Shillelagh, Thorn Whip, Guidance and Produce Flame. Shillelagh pretty useful early on when you can be knocked down of your wild shapes, so you will need to use maybe your physical power to destroy enemies if you're out of spell slots, or just in some scenarios. So, just cast this as bonus action on your weapon, and instantly it will do a lot of additional damage. Thorn Whip, your most used cantrip probably. You can cast it on your enemies and they will be pulled to you, so kind of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Very useful in combinations with a lot of different spells. Produce Flame, just in case you need some, fire in the hand. It will light up area around you and you can throw it. It won't do a lot of damage, but still, sometimes you just need some fire, and maybe this little spark will save you. And Guidance, in case you don't have Cleric, pretty useful for dialogues to buff your characters, so why not to have it. Now spells. While all spells can be useful, I would point on the most interesting and cool ones you can use, and it will be useful in a lot of situations. So, when you just starting Long Strider, really nice buff spell. So you just cast it on yourself, or even you can upcast it and cast it on yourself and your allies. Coolest part, it's not using any spell slots, because when it's used outside of the combat, it's Ritual. So Ritual's not using spell slots. It increases creature movement speed by 3 meters. Very nice buff for battles to travel more distance, always. It's very nice and useful on you, because in wild shapes you will be melee character, so it's nice to have ability to travel more distance. Fairy Fire, a really useful spell for early game, when you and your allies don't have really high hit chance on enemies. This will give you advantage on attack rolls against enemies and your allies. Additionally, this will light up area and you will see all invisible creatures in this area. So useful against invisible bosses, other invisible creatures, and also its concentration spell. Basically, a lot of spells will be concentration spell. So, while you concentrate on this spell, you can go into Wild Shape, and you will have advantage on attack rolls against enemies that is highlighted by Fairy Fire while you're in a Wild Shape. Goodberry, very nice spell, I'm not using it too much, but just by consuming spell slots you will gain some good berries that can be used to heal some health points. So pretty nice to just waste all your spell slots. Just in case you're going for long rest, use all your remaining spell slots. On good berries you will have kind of free like mini healing potions that you can eat mostly after battles, because one good berry heals 1d4 hit points. Then Ice Knife, pretty basic spell, just range damaging spell, nothing special here. Same with Thunder Wave, you just push enemies away from you. Most of the time as Moon Druid, you won't really use it too much, because you will be melee in animal form, and most of the time you want to pull enemies towards you, not outside of you. But Thunder Wave can be used to push enemies off cliffs and other good locations, so it can be useful too. Then Healing Word, a very nice spell in case your party member dies. You don't need to go and pick him up with your hands. Instead, you can use bonus action and level 1 spell slot and heal and pick them up at the same time. So definitely use this spell. Enhance Sleep. It can be useful for some exploration stuff, just in case you want to jump to high places, you can cast it on yourself, on your allies, so very useful in early game in my opinion, I use it a lot. Then speak with animals, just fun spell, in case you want to speak with some animals, you don't need animal potions, just cast the spell and have fun. Animal friendship, so if you find some animals that have intelligence of 3 or less, you can convince these beasts not to attack you. There is some instances where you can use this spell, but it got a lot of very conditional stuff that is not really cool. So very situational in my opinion, it's not worth a spell slot or slot in your book. Just in case you're in a situation where you need this, know that you can do it. Charm person, same but works on persons, not animals. Again, pretty useless in my opinion. Then entangle. Concentration spell. It will entangle enemies, they will be binded to one place. So that's a good one actually, very good one. Also, can work on your allies. It requires strength saving throw, so if enemies got high strength, they probably will run away from this entangle position. But if you're lucky and you will entangle your enemies, they will be a really easy target for you in your wild shape form. That's kind of 50-50 spell. Same as Fog Cloud. It creates cloud that make enemies blind, and you're blind, your light's blind. Nice zoning tool, but again, in my opinion, it's better to concentrate on Fairy Fire at early levels to gain advantage on attack rolls. So that's my spell list of useful spells from level 1. Let's go to level 2. Hold Person. I would always have this in my prepared list. Just insane spell. Concentration spell that can be casted on humanoids. All attacks will be critical hits. If you're lucky and succeed with the spell. Wisdom saving throw. Not a lot of people got high wisdom, so really useful stuff. Then Flame Blade. Looking cool but not useful at all because you will be in Moon Druid form. So for other druids, nice spell, not for us. Lesser Restoration. Cure disease or poison, or blindness or paralysis. Can be useful, again, very situational, just in case you got some spare spell slots, maybe have it on your board prepared, just in case. Mostly you won't use it. Flaming Sphere. In early game, very useful stuff, so it's creating Flaming Sphere. That will be your friend. Let me just create it. This Flaming Sphere can be controlled. It's doing a lot of fire around it, so it can flame some stuff. It can make everything on fire, destroy objects that is vulnerable to fire damage. Also, you can just ram into targets, into people. As you can see, objects is destroyed. You can ram into targets. Additional body in a fight, and also its concentration spell at the same time. So it lasts only for 10 turns, doing 2d6 damage. You can upcast it to do more damage. I guess it's not worth it, because Flaming Sphere don't have really high HP bar, so pretty nice addition to your party in early game, just in case you want to destroy your enemies faster with additional ally in the party. Later in the game it falls off, so we can destroy the spell from our prepared list. Then Moonbeam. That's what we will concentrate on if we want to do some damage. So, cool part about Moonbeam. It's really hard to attack your allies with it, so radius is really little and really small. At the same time, if there's a lot of enemies in the same area, it's hard to hit all of them. Still, you cast it, it will do radiant damage over here to everyone who passes through this place or not. And I guess it's time to show you some combinations. So combination is really simple, you just Moonbeam over here, enemies will try to run away from this place. If you're not in the Moon Druid form, I mean in the wild shape form, just use Storm Whip and bring your enemies to the Moonbeam. So this way you're doing additional damage with Storm Whip and with Moonbeam at the same turn. Very useful combination, but if your enemies run away for like really large distance, it's hard to use Storm Whip on them, then you can use Move Moonbeam. So every turn for 10 turns you can do it with your action without consuming any spell slots. That's why this spell is really good. So basically you can recast it and do more radiant damage in another zone, or maybe enemies died over here, so you can move this Moonbeam to another zone. Very useful if you're standing in normal form as caster, or maybe you just need some radiant damage. Then we got Pass Without Trace. Useless spell, only in some combinations it can be broken, but mostly it's kinda useless. Protection from poison, If you're facing a lot of enemies that are using poison damage, you can cast it, but uses level 2 spell slots, so most of the time you just don't want to waste spell slots on the spells. Gust of Wind, so pushes enemies a little bit more than Thunder Wave, but doing no damage. So, very conditional spell. Enhance ability, pretty nice to have on your prepared list just for exploration, just in case one of your characters needs some boost in abilities. Most common is some charisma checks in dialogues, so Eagle Splinter will be just prompted in dialogue, do you want to use this as your bonus, but also Cat's Grace gives advantage on dexterity checks, so cast it on your Thief Rogue or any other guy who disarming some traps, and he will roll 2 dice to do it. Also works very good on Pickpocket and other activities using dexterity. So just in case, I like to have it on my prepared list. Then Hit Metal. If you're facing enemies in armor with the swords, very useful. Basically, you concentrate on the spell, and enemy with a sword will take 2d8 fire damage each turn, or he can drop his weapon. So, pretty useful, nice spell to have. Problem with the spell, it's concentration, it uses spell slot, and best use for the spell is to actually cast it on someone who is not in your target area right now. So you cast this, for example, on person from the right and going to attack person on the left, completely ignoring him because he will take damage every turn. But if you using it and then attacking this person, basically you did 2d8 fire damage and lost your spell slot. You can do more damage with just Moonbeam and have better damage output and other stuff, so that's not on my prepared spell list. But Dark Vision goes over here too. Barskin, increase armor class up to 16. It's looking cool, but you won't get any bonuses. So if you got lower armor class than 16, can be useful. But most of the time with just shield in your hand, so you will have more than 16 most of the time. So while it's cool, it's pretty useful. It's pretty useless actually. And we're going to Spike Growth. That's our favorite spell, of course. So Spike Growth is really cool one. It creates a really big area of difficult terrain, and also everyone who passes through this area will be damaged. And damaged for every 1.5 meter it moves. A radius is 18 meters. So while damage is not impressive, 2d4, if enemy try to move for wall distance, he can be inflicted with this damage for like 12 times. Most of the time it's impossible and will be used as a kind of zoning tool. So you just cast it over here, and this area is just protected from enemy movement. Also, if enemy get out of this area to you, you can use Thunder Wave on the next turn to push enemies over here, and they kinda dead in the middle of this zone. Or at the same time, you can move to the edge, for example, and use Thorn Whip to enemies over here. They will be pulled on this area, will be damaged on the next turn. So there's a lot of cool combinations with this spell. That's why that's my spell list for level 2 and level 1 spells. Now level 3. So protection from energy gives protection from different energy types, like cold, fire, acid and other types. I found it pretty useless. We can survive without protection from energy. So Sleet Storm can break concentration of enemy spellcasters. Most of the time you can break it just by jumping on them with Old Bear, so pretty useless too. Feint Dash, interesting, I never found really cool use for it, so pretty like useless in this game. Daylight, super niche spell. So it creates sphere of light. Look at this. And it's basically making daylight in this area and lasts until long rest. Additionally, it dispels darkness. So mostly it will be useful spell in the last act of the game. You can have some usage of it in the second act, so you can have it on your prepared spell list just in case you're not using anything else. It's not concentration spell, just basic spell, so pretty useful. Then Cold Lightning, my favorite concentrating spell, in case you want to do some damage. And Plant Growth can be useful too. So Plant Growth creates difficult terrain for enemies, for your allies, but it's not doing any damage. And also it's not a concentration spell, so just in case you want to make some hard terrain, pretty useful, but my favorite is Cold Lightning, of course. Radius is really nice, you just Cold Lightning over here, and then you can recast it without consuming spell slot every turn. So in case you want some lightning damage, that's the way to go. Also on this level, when you unlock Cold Lightning, I would actually, instead of Plant Growth, add Create or Destroy Water from level 1. And that's another combination of spells. So, you can make enemies sweat. You can do it with level 1 spell slot for a really big radius of water, or you can just choose different type, create water without any spell slot. Radius will be smaller, but no spell slot usage is really nice. Just make them wet, and then cast Cold Lightning on these guys. It will do double damage and possibly one-shot some of the enemies. Really powerful stuff, also creating electrified water, which will damage a lot of enemies in this zone every turn. And let's heal this guy with bonus action. That's how it works. Healing Word, best spell in the game. And as you can see, we're almost out of prepared spells. But also, we don't need a lot of prepared spells actually. At this point of the game, you won't use a lot of spells most of the time. You will be in your animal form and have fun with it. So, freedom of movement. Level 4 spell slot gives you protection from difficult terrain, so it's a nice combination with Plant Growth. For example, you cast Plant Growth, you got precasted freedom of movement, so you get this protection. Now enemies will have difficult time going on difficult terrain, while you won't have any penalty on this place. But again, it's 2 turns. I mean, it's kind of 1 turn to make Plant Growth. Still, you create this difficult terrain, then you go into wild shape, you come into your enemy, and they just jump away, for example. You just wasted like spells, spell slots, other stuff. Why to do it? So, cool looking, but pretty useless. Damaging spells from level 4. Blight, Ice Storm, Wall of Fire. With Moon Druid, I will ignore Ice Storm and Blight totally. Necromancy is just not really good damage type, while Ice Storm got really nice big radius, you can do some damage, so it's powerful spell, but there's almost no cool combinations with this spell. It's better to cast water with lightning on the next turn, so you will just recast lightning every other turn, or you can do radiant damage with Moonbeam. You don't need this ice damage. Enchantment spell, Confusion. Confuse group of creatures, causing them to attack at random. Fun spell, 3 turns, really big radius, and it's Wisdom saving throw. So saving throw is same as for Hold Person, but in case you're fighting a lot of like enemies with low health pool, but there's a lot of them, probably they will start to attack each other. At the same time, you can just use Cold Lightning and destroy them with like few lightnings. So why just mess around with Confusion? Just only if you want to have some fun with it. If you're facing not like a lot of enemies but just few of them, Confusion may be a waste of spell slots of level 4. Instead, you can do Hold Person, upcast it to level 4, and cast it on 3 persons. So, if there's more than 3 enemies, maybe Confusion nice option. If there's less, for same saving throw with Wisdom, you can do Hold Person, upcast it to level 4. Wall of Fire. That's the only spell I would pick from this level because it's a concentration spell, you will concentrate on it, and you can use it as zoning tool. So you just make Wall of Fire in this area, for example, block some paths or escape route for enemies, become owlbear or any other like scary creature and go ram on them. Stone Skin. Concentration spell. To gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing and slashing damage. If you're fighting a lot of enemies that's using no magic, it can be useful. So just level 4 spell slot, still concentration spell, you need to be sure not to break this concentration. Become Badger, and as you can see, these resistances all stay on us. So, very useful and protective spell for your animal forms. Most of the forms will have really low armor class, it will be easy to hit you, but you will halve all the damage you take. That's why the spell is really nice. And also from level 4 we got 2 summons, Woodland Being and Minor Elemental. It's getting really hard to choose right now what we can pick for our last slot. But in the late game you will have really high hit chance, so at this point of the game, when you're picking level 5 spells, you can remove Fairy Fire from your spell list. I would say most of the time you don't need Spike Growth already, it's just not doing enough damage. And here we are, we got 3 spell slots. How we can use them? From level 5 you will get Contagion, Necromancy spells that can possibly poison an enemy with different diseases of your choice. Wall of Stone, concentration spell, creates really big wall with stones, so it's hard for enemies to go through. Planar Binding, if you're fighting against Celestials, Elementals, or Fiends, they possibly will be your allies, but they will need Wisdom saving throw. Possibly they will do it. Also Mask Cure Wounds, really big heal for your party, but level 5 spell slot. And Greater Restoration. You need to touch creature to disable Charm, Purification, or Stun. All the spells, in my opinion, well, have some use in the game, pretty useless. So from level 5 we can Conjure Elemental, our additional summon, and Insect Plague. Insect Plague can be really nice zoning tool, so it will come on the change of spike growth. And to do really nice 4d10 piercing damage. So damage is really nice. And radius, as you can see, really big too. Also it's hard to move terrain, so like best zoning tool for level 5. And here we are, last spell slot. Windwalk and Heal, just forget about the spells. They powerful, most of the time you won't use them. Why use level 6 spell slot when you can use bonus action to heal yourself with potion basically. Transform into clouds, very cool, but when do you need to transform into cloud? In the late game where you already became like powerful machine destroying everyone. So basically there's 3 spells from level 6. Wall of Thorns, Hero's Feast, and Sunbeam. And at this point of the game I would actually remove Wall of Fire. Most of the time it's not a useful spell. You will zone same area with Insect Plague already. So we got 2 spells. One of the spell slots will be always Hero's Feast. Second spell slot will be determined on how you play in Druid. If you still like to use some spells, most of the time, and just occasionally use Bearer and other animal forms, then go with Sunbeam. That's really powerful level 6 spell and works kinda same as Cold Lightning. You just cast it and you can recast it every turn for 10 turns. But if you use an animal forms, Wall of Thorns, it lasts for 60 turns, create a really big wall that's doing nice damage, and you will have nice combinations with this wall. So here we are, cantrips, and just in case, level 1 spells, level 2 spells, level 3 spells, and also level 1 spell just to make combinations with Cold Lightning, level 4 just summons, level 5 summon and Insect Plague, level 6 Wall of Thorns, and Hero's Feast. So how to use Hero's Feast? I recommend getting this Spellcrux amulet, and you just cast Hero's Feast at the start of the day. Your party instantly will have bonus health points, you will get some food so you can eat it when you're going for long rest, and then just put your amulet on your hotbar. So we're pressing on this amulet, we're using spell slot restoration of level 6, we're getting back our level 6 spell slot, using after we used Hero's Feast, and then we're switching back to our normal amulet. That's how this part works. Combinations with Wall of Thorns will be kinda same, so you can push enemies with Thunder Wave in this wall, you can pull them with Thorn Whip, again pretty easy, straightforward stuff. And now we got to the hardest part of this guide. We're getting to animal forms. Yeah guys, let's do it. So Wild Shape, restoring on short rest. Also you will see that like starting Wild Shapes kinda have 13 hit points. It's not the case, so let me just become Badger, and here we are. As you can see, 48 hit points. Still not a large amount, but in the early game, it's pretty useful form. Also, my cool tip for Wild Shapes. You already know they is scaling with strength, at least attack rolls, in most of the shapes. So let's just attack Wizards, just for test. And not all forms will be scaled with strength, that's really important. But actually it's adding to our damage roll tool. So, my cool tip that when you're in animal forms, you can actually never benefit from your gear. No matter your gear like shields and other stuff given your armor class on any other stuff, you won't be able to benefit from these bonuses. From most of the gear. I will show you good gear, but mostly you just don't care about your gear. But you can benefit from Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength, of Hill Giant Strength, and basically you can bump up your strength really easily with these elixirs, so your animals will be really scary and powerful. That's a huge tip, and as you can see with this Elixir, even with basic form, we can do 28 damage with normal attack without even critical hit. I will put basic information about every form right now on the screen, thanks to Baldur's Gate 3 wiki. So, every form got some basic attack. For example, Badger got 2d4, and every level we get an additional dice in damage every few levels. At the maximum level it will be 1d10, but also we will add some damage type. So it will be strength damage for Badger. Right now my strength is 27 with potion, and even Badger can do 1d10 plus 8 bonus damage in addition to 2d4, in addition to this plus 8 from Tavern Brawler, which is really big damage, as you can see. Also in one turn we can do one attack and also extra attack and also one more attack. That's how full Druid works, 3 attacks. So in wild form as Badger you can do like 100 damage in a turn. Bonus action can be used with level 1 spell slot to heal you. What is cool about Badger? First of all, you got Claws. You're doing kinda basic attack, but there is possibility you will push target for really low distance, but still, it can be enough to push him into Moonbeam, for example, into Spike Growth, into Wall of Thorns. Yeah, you won't use Badger when you get to level 6 spells, but still, as you can see, it can be useful. So he can be pushed in Moonbeam for additional damage right now. And yeah, I guess it's worth noting, we can do 3 attacks in one turn, only at level 10 or 11 as Druid. And now Burrow, really special action for Badger. If you're playing with party with a lot of melee characters, maybe range characters that's relying on attack rolls, that can be big, because when you're using action and some movement speed, you can unburrow in area. Just look at this. And possibly enemies will be prone. So that's supportive ability, because you use an action without doing any damage. Still, only requirement you need is to see your target destination. And sometimes it's just really faster to travel to this location by using burrow. For example, right now I can't get to this destination. As you can see, it's 23 meters, but by using burrow, I can possibly unburrow here. And yeah, he did it. He did it with additional movement speed. So really nice travel distance. Make sure not to forget Badger can do it. So I'm out of my wild shape charges. Let's go to short rest menu, and we are back with some additional wild shapes. So next up, Cat. Cat is pretty useless. Only go into cat form if you really need this. So you can use this cat form in case you need to go to some like small holes and other stuff. You can get in with cat form. Cat doing slashing attack, and he is one of the forms who is not scaling with strength. So even with 27 strength, he will do only 1d8 plus 2 dexterity damage. Special action for Cat is Meow. Basically, you draw in attention of nearby enemies, and everyone will come see what's going on here. Hello, little old bear, what's up? Basically, you can use it as a trap, so create some spike growth in this area, use Cat to lure down enemies towards you. They will be in one area, but they should be kinda not enemies at this time. And then you exit your cat form, becoming Druid and using something like Thunder Wave to push them off the cliff, maybe push them to the spike growth. You can use it occasionally if you're super creative, but most of the time you won't, I guess. Just use it in case you need to go to the small hole. Next early game shape is Wild Shape Wolf. Let's do it. Here we are. Big Bad Wolf. Damage is really nice, it's scaling with strength, so you can use him with potions. Wolf form really useful if your allies is melee characters, and probably they need to travel some distance. You just go in, use this howl, and everyone will be able to travel more distance on the next turn. Still, it uses action, so very situational stuff. So only useful if you need to do it on the first turn, and you probably won't be able to travel to enemies otherwise. But another cool feature from Wolf is Exposing Bite. It will expose target for 2 turns, and let me demonstrate you. So Wizards, you're our demonstration dummy for today. Let's do it. And he is exposed. Now our ally comes and hits Wizards, and as you can see, we rolled 5, but it's critical hit. That's how powerful Wolf form is. You can use it only once per short rest, but still. Do it and then make your ally with powerful attacks. Make attack roll against target and it will be critical hit for free. Next early game form is Spider. I would say it's the most useful form and very powerful and my favorite in early game. Only problem, it's not scaling with dexterity. I mean with strength, sorry. So, just our normal attack can possibly poison target. This means target will have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. So powerful stuff, basically disabling targets. Really big, scary spider, doing nice damage, possibly poisons enemies, and also creates webs with bonus action. That's coolest part. So no cooldown like short rest, long rest per combat. Basically you can use web every turn. It won't affect you, it will affect your enemies. Available only in combat, so I can't show you it right now. And as you can see, scales pretty nice. So even in the late game we got 74 hit points. Yeah, you want to use Spider a lot in the late game, but you can use Spider in the early to mid game a lot. And we're going to maybe best form for early game, mid game and even maybe late game. Wild Sheep Bear. So bear, really cool big dude. It will be polar white bear. Our damage is 2d4, but also this form is working with strength. So you can drink some potions, increase your strength, and do really nice damage, and you will have really nice hit chance in this form, especially if you're using something like Tavern Brawler already. And bear is kinda tanky creature. He will have most amount of hit points in early game, 111 in late game, and also you will have Golden Roar. It will force enemies to attack you. It will protect allies and forces in the really large area. So powerful attack, it's not attack but powerful action to protect your allies and get use of your health in animal forms. Let's dismiss this shape. And now we're going to the mid-game forms. Deep Roti. So that's kinda big bad rum. Let's go. What we can do? We can do Dancing Lights with bonus action, but it will be concentration spell. It can be useful sometime, but again, as Moon Druid you will concentrate on other spells most of the time. But still you can use it in battle if you need to light up some enemies and have better chances to hit them if they stand in the dark areas especially. For attacks, we using 3d4 piercing damage attack, which scales with our strength. Also, if target got some toughness, mostly like materials will have toughness. Stuff like tables and other stuff, rocks maybe. So if you're opening doors, maybe chests, or maybe fighting some constructs, this will work and do additional force damage. Even without it, damage is really nice. Health pool, a lot lower than bear pool, but we got this cool attack, charge. So you will charge forward, possibly making enemies prone. In case you're fighting a lot of enemies, that's really useful stuff, just charge and they will be falling on the ground. And prone is really powerful condition. They can't move or take actions, bonus actions, reactions, and have disadvantage on saving throws with dexterity and strength. And also attacks against these targets will have advantage. Most of the prone conditions will be applied only for one turn, this for 2 turns. That's really powerful. And now we get into our mid-game forms. First one is Panther, of course. Very cool one. Not a lot of health, but still you're really stylish black cat that's prowling on his enemies. Before fight, I recommend using this invisibility if you're before fight in this shape. So, Panther can be turned invisible until long rest. It's concentration spell, so you won't be able to use other spells. But first attack from invisibility will do additional damage. That's nice. Let's do it. Our damage is not scaling with strength potions. I always say it because if you're using strength potions, you need to understand what forms works with them, what not. This form is not working with strength potions, but it's using strength modifier on attack rolls with Tavern Brawler. And our attack is 3d6 piercing damage, basic bite, with additional damage from Prowl. But that's not coolest part about Panther. So Panther got Jugular Strike. It's 1d4 piercing plus your additional dice. Plus, if target is prone, you deal additional 2d6 plus 2 piercing damage. Now it's question how to make target prone. and it will be pounce. So you can make target prone for 2 turns, again same as Deep Roti. You will do 2d8 piercing damage plus your bonus dice, and basically you're pouncing from large distance, but if target got high strength, it will be almost impossible to hit him. Asterion got really low strength, and we're doing no damage. That's why it's kinda risky move. It uses action, so you won't be able to attack, but if you land, you land, and then you can use this Jugular Strike to basically remove Asterion from the game. That's how to play Panther, and let's go to, I guess, fun favorite form. One of my favorite forms for sure. And this form, of course, is All Bear form. Let's do it. This crazy and cool looking All Bear. We got our normal attack, 2d8 plus your bonus dice. That is scaling with strength, so that's nice. Also, this normal attack will push enemies. That's why All Bear is really powerful dude. I remind you, in the late game you can do 3 attacks in 1 turn, so this possibly can push enemies up to 5 meters. That's super powerful. So you can push them into Ball of Thorns in the late game. Also we got really nice health pool, 112 HP in the last level. And also as All Bear you will have rage charges like Barbarian, and you will be able to enrage yourself. It will increase your strength by 2 and possibly make nearby creatures fearful. Strength will be increased by 3 turns, they will be fearful for 1 turn, so you will have high chance to hit, high chance to attack, and do more damage. Very nice and useful stuff. But also we have Rupture. Again, one of my favorite. You will always do 2d8 plus 1d8 bludgeoning damage and push a lot of enemies away. So now you can push not one target but a lot of targets away from you. Look at this. They saved, sadly. So let's get back to our Druid form and pick him up. But when they not saving and you got something like Wall of Thorns, maybe just some insect plague, you will push enemies to these places and do insane amount of damage. And we slowly move into our late game forms. Saber-toothed Tiger, really powerful damage form. Nice HP pool, so 89 health points. We got basic bite, and just basic attack can possibly inflict prone to enemy. That's super big, because we can do like 2-3 attacks at this point of the game, and being able to do it and possibly make enemies prone is really big. Additionally, you can reduce enemies' armor class by 1 with Shred Armor attack, and also same or almost same strike, and also same strike as Panther got, Jugular Strike. So you're doing your normal attack, which doing from 11 to 30 damage, and then Jugular Strike that can do 20 to 42 damage if target is prone. And all of this possible because this trigger is scaling with our potions. So if you're using potions, if you have high strength, you will do insane amount of damage as Tiger. More than 100 damage in 1 turn without any critical hits basically. That's crazy. And another late game form is Dilophosaurus, or basically Dinosaur. Very powerful too. Scaling with strength, doing additional acid damage on hit. Got this corrosive speed. And corrosive speed is really big radius range attack. So that's one of the forms that can do range attacks. Not a lot of forms can do it. And for this range, actually like 0 forms can do it. You just spit your poison at the enemy. Constitution saving throw, so make sure to understand chances of enemy to succeed on this throw, or you will do like 0 damage. But it's scaling. It's removing armor every turn. Right now, Wizards get 5 armor. On the next turn, he will lose this corrosive speed. At least he should lose it, but he is not losing for some reason. Basically, if you succeed, target will take damage every turn, and each turn he will have reduced armor. And also, it benefits from Tavern Brawler, so basically for free we're doing a lot of damage every turn. Very powerful attack. Also we get Pounce, like Panther got, so just pounce on your target, do some damage, maybe target will be proned. Let's test on Gale. Look, we're doing some damage, so he got 12 AC right now. Next turn he lost his saving throw, so now it's 11 AC. Next turn he lost again, 10 AC, so it's super easy to hit him right now, and he taking damage every turn. That's insane how your AC can melt basically. And one of the shapes you will get earlier is Dire Raven shape. So it's early game shape or late game shape, but I call it shape for combinations. Basically, when a fight starts, in case you're playing a lot of Druid with spells, or just in one fight you want to use spells and not your bear forms, other forms, position is a king. You need best position in a fight to succeed. So let's say, just for example, there's a lot of enemies here, but if you cast your Insect Plague from this location, possibly they will get away and break your concentration really easily. So instead you can use your Wild Shape Charge to become a Raven. After becoming Raven, you can fly to this location and cast your spell from the high ground where it's hard to get for enemies. Before I do it, let me just show you what a Raven can do. It got normal attack, not scaling with strength of course, and also Rent Vision, attack that can blind targets. So it's useful in case you want to use Raven to fly to the high ground and possibly blind enemy archers, something like that. But health pool is really low, so most of the time you will just travel to get best position in the fight possible. Dismiss this form, it uses no action or bonus action. Right now I'm in turn-based mode, so it's kind of combat simulation. And then from the high ground we cast in our spell, so we're doing large amount of damage over here. It's hard to get to us for enemies and we're like completely safe. That's how to use combinations with Dire Raven form, in case you prefer to use a lot of magic and not your forms. And now we go into super late game. Super late game will give us Myrmidon shapes. It will take 2 wild shape charges. All other forms uses only 1 wild shape charge, so you can kinda become tiger, then die in combat, then again become tiger, die again. But with these shapes you can become Myrmidon only once per combat, once per short rest. What is Myrmidons? Who is Myrmidons? Let me show you. So you got level 5 spell, and we kinda slowly moving to all summons and what they can do in this part of the guide. And let's create Water Myrmidon for now. To do it, I'm upcasting it with level 6 spell slot. Now I will become Water Myrmidon myself. And here we are like 2 Myrmidons. We got completely same stats. My AC right now is 20, his AC is 18, but that's because I got armor that gives me +2 armor in wild shape forms. More on the gear later. But basically we got completely same stats. Coolest part about Myrmidons, they got resistance to basic attacks. It's hard to deal with them. Also some immunities like poison immunity and acid resistance. You will have lower health pools than summoned Myrmidons, but you can compensate it with your armor again. So we get like kinda same health pool. Myrmidon attacks scales with our strength. So maybe not all Myrmidon attacks, but we will test out. And we will have kinda same abilities. So with Myrmidons, we kinda looking at these Myrmidons at the same time, what summons can do. So Water Myrmidon, you can call him Ice Myrmidon actually. His basic attack doing cold damage, additional cold damage, 1d6. Also we have Hamel Strike, that's melee attack that's doing additional cold damage, and also can make target chill. So let's demonstrate on Myrmidon. He is saved, so he is not chilled, but now he is chilled. So being chilled is really bad against Water Myrmidon, because now our target is vulnerable to ice damage. Vulnerable means we're doing double damage with ice spells and other damage types. So you get 2 options. But never do main hand attack. It's doing only 1d6 cold damage. You can still use Hamel Strike to deal additional 1d6 damage and 1d10 cold damage, or you can do Explosive Icicle. It will make... It's kinda range spell, and look at this, pretty nice and beautiful, makes difficult terrain underneath target. So possibly target will be prone, and also damage is really insane, as you can see, because he is vulnerable. And that's what we want to do after we casted our Hamel Strike successfully. Most of the time, because each icicle will do 3d8 cold damage, and it will be doubled. We're doing 3 icicles with this spell, very powerful attack. So it's easy, straightforward, just use Hamel Strike and then Explosive Icicle. That's it. Also, each elemental got something like Fly or Elemental Warp. Each Myrmidon at least have. It's only bonus action and you can basically teleport like Misty Step to any location. Always use it It uses no movement speed, so with Myrmidon, base style is fly to your target, use your attack, teleport back. That's how you play Myrmidons. So instead of showing you Myrmidon summons, I will show it with myself, and we will go with elementals. It's level 5 summons. Water elemental. So kinda same, better call him Icy Guy. He got normal slam attack, and this slam attack will do some water underneath your target. This water can be electrified or frozen. In our case, it can be frozen. He got this cone attack, Winter Breath. Again, you can just use this attack instead, and this will make nice ice surface that will possibly make our targets prone. They will lie here, it will be easier to attack them. Also, if you got burning targets, always use Winter Breath, because they will get this special effect Brittle, and they will take 2d6 cold damage, while at the same time it will be vulnerable to thunder and bludgeoning damage. Also, there is no information about it, but your slam can chill targets. Look, we just do an attack and targets chill. So our base combination with Water Elemental is do normal attack, slam, chill your target, then use multi-attack, because now on chill target, multi-attack doing a lot more damage. It's basically doing 2d4 plus 4 bludgeoning and plus 2d4 cold damage twice. Really powerful stuff, you just need to know how to make target chilled. Now let's get to Fire Elemental, and we become Fire Myrmidon ourselves. Fire Myrmidon, let's go. Okay, so what can we do? With Elemental first. We can do normal attack, and it will inflict burn on your target. While he is burning, he will take some damage. And also it's nice combination with Water Elemental if someone from your party got him. So you can combine burn and brittle effects. Then we got Eruption Cinder. A really large radius, almost fireball-like. You just throwing some fire and doing some damage. And same condition, multi-attack. Again, if target is burning, you can use multi-attack to do more damage with it, additional fire damage. Playstyle and combination is the same as Water Elemental, just use normal attack, then multi-attack, but this time you can use Eruption Cinder before and then multi-attack, depending on your situation. Also, you can use Elemental Warp, teleport to any location you like, and then travel on your foot, because Elemental Warp uses bonus action and no movement speed. Now our Fire Myrmidon, shape and summon will work kinda same. Our shape works with strength, so we benefiting from this Tauren Brawler feat. Normal attack doing additional fire damage, so it's kind of waste of action most of the time, but still you can do 3 attacks in a row. Same as our other Myrmidons, you can fly to one location, do your attacks, and then teleport backwards with Elemental Warp. But now our bread and butter of this form, Myrmidon's Immolation. You can keep concentration to give you haste for 3 turns, which will give you additional action. So let's test this out. We can do 1 attack, extra attack, 1 more attack, and that's only 1 action. Then we can do 1 more attack, and 1 more attack, and 1 more attack. So we can do 6 attacks. That's on Tactician difficulty or any other difficulty. In Honor mode, it will be 4 total attacks, because additional action in Honor mode gives you only 1 attack. Still super powerful in like Tactician difficulty, and then you can just blink away, keeping you safe. And that's like main part. Most of the time when you keep your concentration on yourself with these haste spells, it's easy to break concentration when enemy attacks you, but now you can teleport to safety. Also you got Scorching Strike, additional 1d10 fire damage in addition to your normal attack with 1d6 fire damage, and your target possibly will burn for 2 turns. So we're doing this attack, and as you can see it's working as a normal attack. That's why you kinda never need to use main hand attack. There's no point. Always use this additional 1d10 fire damage. There's no point to use normal attack basically ever. And instead of fireball, he got this burning hands, just some fire in front of him. Again, there's kind of waste of your turn, and only use this as your last action. So if you haste it, you can use this as second action in case you don't want to do 3 attacks, but instead do this like multi-attack. But on Honor mode, it's really useful attack, because on Honor mode you can't do 3 attacks with second action. When haste ends, there is stun for 1 turn, don't forget about it. Still, Fire Myrmidon is really powerful. Now we're summoning Earth Elemental. Yeah, he is big and scary. And becoming Earth Myrmidon. So, what these guys can do? Let's start from the Elemental. At least he looks quite different and acts quite different too. But still he got Elemental Warp, so he can like warp to another location. Normal attacks doing 2d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage and also making mud surface, which will create difficult terrain and it will be hard for enemies to move. So he's a really nice like tanky dude who can do nice like damage attacks, possibly making enemies prone, as you can see. There's no information about it, but it works like that. You just attack enemy and he will be prone, and also it will be hard for them to run away. So he's really sticky dude. Looks like Meltman. Multi-attack doing 2d4 plus 5 damage and can be doubled on prone targets. So again, idea is the same, make target prone with normal attack, then use multi-attack for double damage. And also you got Seismic Strike. It's kinda same as Owlbearer Rage, you just do it and everyone can be pushed away from you. But at the same time, their movement speed will be reduced by 2.5 meters and dexterity reduced by 1. It possibly can reduce their armor class. Now let's get to Myrmidon. So Earth Myrmidon doing thunder damage. This is big attack with thunder and bludgeoning damage, scales with strength again, and can make enemy prone. And that's only Myrmidon form that can't fly, so you get only Elemental Warp action. In this regards, I would say it's the weakest Myrmidon form, but Elemental is really powerful. Still, you don't need to run away from a fight. Your armor class is really nice, it will be 18, basically, but with full build it will be 20. And you got Mag to Metal. It uses movement speed for 2 turns, but will increase your armor class by 2. So being Myrmidon, and at the same time you will have 22 armor class, you will become this Metal Myrmidon. So really powerful stuff. Considering our movement speed is reduced, we can use Burrow by using 6 movement speed and bonus action to do some bludgeoning damage in some zone around us where we basically unburrow, so it's Badger 2.0. And also Sludgy Slink. Basically create a lot of mud around yourself, make it hard for enemies to run away. It's like tanky, sticky guy, same as this tanky, sticky guy. I'm not a fan of this form, but if you need a really tanky guy for your party, he can do the job. And we're going to our last Myrmidon form. And last Elemental. It will be Air Elemental, of course. Here we are, here looking normally, like other guys. And all Myrmidons kinda looking the same. So that's basic Myrmidon. Again, he can fly and teleport away. Like Panther, he can have invisibility. I would say not too useful, but again, you can use it in a fight. Maybe you need to run away from the fight, so can be useful sometime. Normal attacks doing lightning damage. Additional lightning damage, of course. And our cool abilities is Raging Vortex. You making vortex that will silence enemies and at the same time can do some damage each turn. While damage is not impressive and silence is kinda like, why do you need silence? There is actually a good combination for this spell. With your another attack, Electrified Flail, it will do your normal attack, so 1d8 plus strength plus 1d8 lightning plus 1d10 lightning, and possibly will stun a 4. So coolest part, you can do it, let me show it in turn-based mode, as normal attack. So you got 3 attempts to stun enemy. Stunned enemy is basically useless, so that's really powerful form in case you need to just tunnel one enemy out of the fight with your Electrified Flail. And while he's stunned, you can teleport away, so you will be in a safe. Very powerful stuff. And what about our Air Elemental? Instead of lightning damage, he's doing thunder damage with basic attack, but that's range attack, so you're launching like 2 thunder stuff and they doing some damage. Damage is 2d6 plus 1, so not big, but considering we can do 2 attacks, it can be 26 damage, pretty normal and balanced. You can fly and you can teleport, and that's one and only one elemental that can fly and teleport. So even as elemental, he can behave as Myrmidon, fly to his target like that, and can do like range attacks over here, and then just teleport back to safety. It's impossible to get to him, he is basically unkillable. Also we got this gales. We create an area around us, damaging enemies and maybe electrifying them with additional damage each turn. No, not additional damage, sorry. They will be in shocked condition, so we'll have disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws using dexterity. And do you know when they're using these dexterity saving throws? When they're trying to resist your gushing air. So come close, use this action first. After you use this action, get away. On the next turn, get back to your enemies, maybe a little bit closer, and just use gushing air. That's how you do it. If you want to be safe as this Myrmidon, but as this elemental, you can use multi-attack. When target is shocked, they will take double damage from multi-attack, same as previous elementals. So nice damage and really powerful elemental in my opinion. Powerful Myrmidon shape 2, one of my favorite. Let's dismiss it. And there's only 2 summons left that we need to understand in this guide. So first one is Woodland Being. Actually very good and fun favorite, Druid. So this Druid got summon of her own. You got this fallen lover. You can create him and this big tree. So this tree got 2 spells, entangle to any target around him, any enemy around him, or he can entangle with different spell. I don't know what is the difference. It looks like same spells for some reason. If he's standing on some wine surface, he can heal 10 hit points every turn. And he got main hand attack with Twisting Branch. So basically your basic attack is 1d4 with this guy plus 4 bludgeoning, and you're doing additional 3d4 damage. Also, there's no information about it for some reason, but when you're attacking with this mace or whatever it is, there's possibility to entangle your target. So again, no information about it, but there's possible. Maybe it's not possible on wizards, but it's definitely possible in fights. It happened to me a lot. So how to use Druid? She can entangle zone, again, create winey surface. Basically, your fallen lover can go in this place and heal himself every turn. And that's concentration spell in case you don't want really dangerous stuff. Or you can concentrate on spike crows. In combination with your druid in early game, you can basically delete battlefield from enemies, make 2 spike grows, 1 here, 1 over here. It will be impossible to pass through this zone for enemies and just bombard them with spells from the long distance. But if you're in melee range, you got this shillelagh, so your stuff will be a lot powerful. And yeah, I'm totally wrong. So this wood guy can't entangle targets, but Twisted Oak Crook can. Again, there's no information that it can entangle targets, but it can. As you can see, it did it really easily. Really high chance to entangle targets. That's cool. So she can do some damage in melee range at the same time. Also, she gets this aura, protection from difficult terrain for your allies. So you can freely create this winey surface underneath of you, and you will have protection and immune to being entangled, while enemies will have hard time. And now let's go to minor elementals. Pretty useful guys. My favorite is Aether. He's like a little dwarf, fire dwarf. What he can do, he basically can do normal attack with additional fire damage. He got 1 Searing Smite with a lot more fire damage, but you can use it only once per battle, so choose target wisely. Don't cast it on low HP targets. Also, he got basic mace skills like Weakening Strike that can possibly be inflicted with the disadvantage on attack rolls, or Backbreaker that can possibly knock your enemy prone, or Concussive Smash. It will daze your enemy and reduce or even just completely destroys a bonus to armor class from dexterity. That's our actions. Basically, you will do normal attacks most of the time with this guy, and just in case, use these actions for some debuffs on your enemies, but there's bonus actions that you can use every turn. That's why I love this guy. So you can go, do your normal attack, and then use Overheat. It will do damage around you. Very useful to go inside of group of enemies, use Overheat, create some fire around yourself, ignite everyone, and make them burn for 3 turns. That's super powerful ability against groups of enemies. Really powerful, as you can see. 1 Aether can destroy 2 of these summons at the same time. And also delete these Twisting Vines at the same time. He can just burn it. That's why he is my favorite, but also there is Ice Method. Ice Method is really nice. Minor elemental, especially because you're creating 2 of them. They get freezing claws, which do pretty reasonable cold damage to targets, 2d6. Also, they can fly. Aether can't fly, so in really dangerous and difficult terrains, difficult areas, it's better to get methods instead of Aether. You can use Ice Brush 1 per turn, so you kinda can use it as much as you wish, basically. And that's Cone attack with cold damage, with creating of ice surface. Also spell, Chromatic Orb, cold. So ranged ability attack, which you can make enemies prone on ice with some ice damage, also very nice stuff. And just in case you don't need this dude, you can go inside your enemies. It's easy to do with your fly action, just go inside your enemies and use Dash Burst. Just destroy yourself in the ice burst. It will damage only enemies, but still damage is really reasonable. 4d6 cold damage. On dexterity saving throw, targets will take half damage, by the way. And let's compare him to our last elemental, Mud Methods. Again, we're creating 2 of them, and you can upcast this spell, by the way. So level 6 spell can create 2 elementals, so never do it. Never upcast this spell. It's doing nothing, basically. He gets Muddy Claws, which doing bludgeoning damage, 3d6 plus 1, pretty basic damage. He can fly, so he's useful, and he gets 3 actions. One of them is Dash Burst. Again, kinda same action, you just destroy yourself, but also you restrain targets in this area, so they will be coated in mud for 2 turns. All allies will have advantage on attack rolls against these targets, and that's basically how you use this method. That's why they possibly one of the best summons you can use. You just use Dash Burst, and then you will have advantage with attacks in your tiger or bear forms and do really nice damage. Now for our attacks. One attack is basically a really low damage, 1d4 plus 1, but that's range attack. You throw in some mud, some part of yourself. Chances to hit is really low, that's why I don't think it's really cool ability to have and to use. But Mud Breath is really useful. While it's doing no damage, it's making enemies coated with mud. And that's actually powerful. As you can see, this guy is muddy right now. He will have a really hard time moving, and that's basically how you play this guy. Most of the time you're using him not for damage, but for making enemies coated with mud and then just fly away. That's best use of this guy. And that was all spells and all forms and all summons from Druid. I guess only one question you get now is what gear to get on Druid. Again, it doesn't matter too much, but if you want to learn about best gear for Druid, I recommend just watching this video where I show best Halcyon build. Build will be the same, but I will explain all gears that I suggest for Druids. There's timestamps so you can use them to go to your chapter. And see you in the next videos.